not, we'll move on to conduct of business.
Item 9A, receive report on the July 4th, 2018 fireworks-related activities.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we'll give a short update report through our fire chief and our police chief, after which I will have a couple of quick comments. This report is something that the council has requested every year, and our intent is simply to recap the results of the city's education, outreach, and enforcement activities around the July 4th holiday.
Thank you, Chiefs.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. The Police Department responded to a total of 273 incidents on July 4th, 2018, of which 173 were fireworks related. Of the 173 fireworks related incidents, 31 were incidents that were initiated by officers in the field. We received multiple calls from several individuals and estimate the number of individuals calling the Police Department on the 4th regarding fireworks to be between 85 and 100. The peak activity for calls for service began on July 4th at approximately 9 p.m. and tapered off just after 11 p.m. Complaints of illegal fireworks were received citywide, with many complaints involving the use of both legal, safe, and sane fireworks, as well as prohibited fireworks. In an effort to educate and raise awareness, staff worked with San Bruno Cable to provide public service announcements aired on Channel 1, including a video message from the fire and police chiefs. We apologize to the city for everyone having to see our faces so much through the month of June. A flyer with a written message from both the fire chief and I was mailed to every residence in the city prior to the 4th of July holiday. Police and fire personnel met with fireworks vendors and reviewed the rules and regulations for the sale of safe and sane fireworks, and notices were posted on the website and via social media. On the 4th of July itself, the police department regularly posted enforcement activity updates to its social media sites in an effort to continue the public education effort. In the days leading up to the 4th of July holiday, police department personnel visited approximately 15 locations where violations were believed to have occurred in previous years. Officers spoke with residents about the use of illegal fireworks, including our enforcement efforts, penalties for the possession and use, and the danger these items pose to the community. Additionally, officers warned residents about the excessive consumption of alcohol, the impact large parties have on the community, and pedestrian safety, including children in the street. The police department deployed additional officers to conduct illegal fireworks enforcement, and from June 28th through July 5th. Officers patrolled for illegal fireworks in violation of safe and sane use, paying particular attention to open space areas. The officers also assisted with the education campaign and made contact in those neighborhoods where the department had previously received large numbers of complaints. These officers were assigned during times of peak activity from 6 p.m. to midnight. Additional personnel were also brought in to work the 4th of July. All regularly scheduled days off were canceled for police department personnel. In addition to the normal patrol beats, firework enforcement teams were organized and assigned geographic regions throughout the city from 6 p.m. on July 4th through 2 a.m. on July 5th. In all, 41 sworn and 16 non-sworn personnel worked this detail. When officers were able to observe an individual using illegal fireworks, they made use of the city ordinance sections and issued administrative citations that carry a fine of $1,000 per violation. A special emphasis was placed this year on officers patrolling problem areas on foot and on bicycles. Additionally, non-uniform officers were deployed to direct uniformed officers to issue citations for observed violations. This proactive effort resulted in a total of 25 administrative citations for the use and or possession of dangerous fireworks. The issuance of citations occurred throughout the city, and as in years past, there were pockets of increased activity, and these pockets existed in all areas of the city. The existing municipal code section allows for the enforcement of anyone that allows, causes, maintains, or permits a violation to exist or continue by an act of omission. This year, all citations that were issued on the 4th were issued to individuals actually found to be in possession or actively using illegal fireworks. However, the police department is reviewing 2 locations in which subsequent citations may be issued to those responsible for those properties that allowed for the use should it be determined that those citations are warranted and can be clearly proven. Of the 25 individuals that were issued administrative citations, 8 were San Bruno residents. Over 400 pounds of illegal fireworks were seized compared to only 26 pounds the year before, This was primarily due to officers locating and seizing over 300 pounds of illegal fireworks from one vehicle very early in the evening before it got dark. So we were very fortunate in that account. The fire department responded to 18 calls for service on July 4th. 9 of those appeared to be fireworks related. Crews responded to a small grass fire during the day at Lions Field that appeared to have been caused by illegal appeared to have been caused by illegal fireworks. There was a fire in the backyard of a residence and 6 trash can fires that appeared to be caused by the improper disposal of legal fireworks. No pedestrian safety issues were reported. When contacting large groups celebrating the holiday, officers generally receive the necessary cooperation. However, both dispatchers and officers in the field regularly interacted with individuals who were angry at either a perceived lack of enforcement or for being too proactive by both the reporting parties, violators, and their associates. Sometimes there was some colorful language used as well. There were no reports of any violent activity. One arrest was made for charges relating to the possession of a loaded firearm and controlled substances while citing individuals for illegal fireworks. Although you're very aware, I believe it's important to note that the preparation and response to this holiday is a collaborative effort that requires a great deal of planning. A preliminary cost estimate for this year's education and enforcement program citywide, including all participating departments, is just over $77,000. The calculated costs only include what is done above and beyond the normal course of business to prepare for the holiday. And these costs are covered from proceeds from the sale of fireworks by the groups that sell fireworks leading up to the holiday. I'd like to acknowledge the work of the Police Department command staff for developing a thorough and comprehensive operations plan, as well as all of the officers, dispatchers, community service officers, and police clerks who spent this holiday away from their families in an effort to provide for the safety of our city. Additionally, I'd like to recognize the Community Services Department, who assigned 4 staff members to monitor activity at parks throughout the city on the 4th. And I extend my appreciation to the Public Services Department, whose staff picked up approximately 8 cubic yards of trash following the holiday. Finally, I'd like to thank the Fire Department, who worked hand in hand with Police Department personnel to provide for a safe evening. As you might imagine, the Police Department receives a great deal of feedback regarding 4th of July activities. This feedback includes criticism that enforcement efforts are not adequate, and we receive video and anecdotal accounts of the use of illegal fireworks and other unruly behavior associated with the holiday. On the other hand, we also receive a substantial amount of criticism that our enforcement efforts are too robust and too proactive. We hear from many individuals who do not believe we should expend the resources we do in this area. They feel that this activity only occurs a few days a year and does not require the attention we give to it. The Police Department empathizes with all of our residents regardless of their position on our enforcement levels. Our main concern is to do our best to provide for a holiday that is as safe and enjoyable as possible. As we do following every large event or operation, the Police Department evaluates the effectiveness of its planning, its strategy and tactics, and makes adjustments accordingly. This was evident this year by the manner in which enforcement was conducted with the use of officers on foot and not in uniform. We'll conduct the same evaluations for the upcoming year and make any necessary adjustments that are warranted to enhance our efforts to provide for a safe holiday next year. This concludes our summary and presentation, and the Fire Chief and I are available for any questions or comments you may have.
Are there any speaker cards, Melissa, for that? Is there anybody from the audience who wanted to speak on this topic? Okay, any comments from council members? None? Everyone else?
Just thank you very much for your efforts. I know it's difficult when things are blowing up someplace to pinpoint where they're coming from, so I think you did an outstanding effort, and I know you get mixed reviews, but I appreciate all the work you did, and I think you need to keep doing what you've been doing.
Anything, Marty?
Of course, thank you for everything you do and you've done and continue to do. In my neighborhood, it was about the same. You can see the fireworks going off away, but that's as you've proven, it's almost impossible to catch. You have to see them actually do it. Someone has to be there to witness it. Just wanted to thank you for your work, and we'll try harder next year.
Thanks, Marty. Michael? The only thing I would say is, again, echoed with some of my colleagues, of what they said about the enforcement. I know Michael and I were at the briefing and we did a ride-along. But also what I did is I also went to work and wanted to poll the co-workers who live in Daly City, Foster City, San Mateo, Millbrae, et cetera, Redwood City, and just to get a flavor of how was it in your area. And I hear some of the emails I did receive, I was hearing the same thing. I have a friend who just got back from Tahoe yesterday, and he said, you can't believe what was going on in Tahoe. With what it was up there, you would think nobody would want to dare light anything into the sky, but they were. So I think some neighborhoods have it, maybe there were improvements this year, and then others felt it worse. I do know that with the staffing component that we have, that is paid for by the proceeds, meaning the city's not making money, it is paying for the costs of the staff and the extra work that we do. I know I've had a few emails, so to clear some things up, we cannot charge more than $1,000. That's where we are capped as a city. We do not make additional monies off it. It is not a fundraiser for the city of San Bruno. In essence, you're asking staff to come in and being mandatoried in to serve the community. I do know in some of the other neighboring jurisdictions, they don't have the resources. There's not a mechanism in which to put those many law enforcement officers persons on the street. So it is a challenge in the sense that I don't think whether we had Safe and Sane or we didn't, there will ever be a perfect 4th of July, that there won't be some concerns or criticisms. I know the fire danger has extra sensitivity to people and what's going on, as we did several years ago. So I do want to say, though, I saw it firsthand, and I do appreciate all the city staff that worked, and I appreciate, because you are correct, Police Chief, there was, shall we say, gestures as well as vocabulary that were utilized that I can't show or communicate here this evening toward the officers. And what I saw was them maintain a professionalism and do their job. And I appreciate that. And so does this council and this community. So thank you. If there's nothing else? Oh, there is? Please. Oh, and thank you so much, Melissa. Melissa's worried about you, Laura, on when you're at where you're at. Do you have any comments or any things you'd like to ask in regards to the fireworks?
Thank you, Mayor Medina. I just want to remind the residents, and I think the comments already mentioned already, the problem exists in every city I've been in. I've spent different years in different cities. Unfortunately, the last 2 years I've spent traveling from Redwood City to San Bruno, spending the day at the hospital with my father.
Laura Davis?
Yes.
Laura, can you pause just for a second? We're trying to adjust the sound.
Okay.
Thanks. We're going to try it again.
Okay.
Go ahead, Laura.
Just want to remind everybody that the problem exists in every city. And it's not Safe and Sane that's bringing it. It's people making bad choices. And the choices they're making is to purchase and to set off illegal fireworks. Excellent job by the police force, staff, for trying to eliminate the amount of illegals to the best of their abilities. This year we spent $77,000 just in that effort. And I think it's mentioned by Mayor Medina, no other city is putting that effort towards it. We are. And that is also being paid by all the non-profit organizations that are selling safe fireworks. So no cost to the city. So, continue the efforts of the city, continue to patrol it, and to try to eliminate it. It is an ongoing issue, and we know, and we all feel it. There's animals, we're concerned about fires. It is a number one priority for all of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And we're going to try to still work a little bit on the sound quality, but thank you. Okay, thank you. So, Laura, what may be helpful too is when you are talking maybe a little slower, and I think that it'll help a little bit here, potentially, but thank you. And or louder. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to the next item. Oh, I apologize, Connie. Thank you, Marty. Oh, Robert. Did you want to end?
Thank you. No, actually, the comments that I wanted to make sure were communicated into the record were the comments that the mayor made earlier. Namely, we, I think, are unique in having a funding source to be able to mount the type of public education and enforcement campaign that does go on in San Bruno, and we believe does make at least some difference. That funding source is the groups themselves who benefit from fireworks sales. The city does not receive income and does not receive a financial benefit from the sale of safe and sane fireworks. That benefit is directly and only to those groups that staff the booths where the fireworks are sold. And then lastly, the education and enforcement campaign that we utilize is not intended to raise money. It's intended to penalize behavior that is not consistent with the law, be that the law of San Bruno related to the use of safe and sane fireworks, or the laws of the state of California that ban illegal fireworks. Thank you.
Thank you.